Michaela Vernava for NESN.com here on Radio Row, and I'm joined now by Steve Mariucci, NFL Network analyst. Steve, thanks so much for talking with us today.
Hi, Michaela. Nice to meet you, and good to be on with you.
Well, we have two teams, the Denver Broncos and Carolina Panthers, going head-to-head in the Super Bowl with two very different quarterbacks. Now, Cam Newton, pretty stellar season for that guy, and this postseason really went off against the Seahawks and the Cardinals, but he faces a big challenge against the Denver Broncos defense. What do you think he's going to be able to do in this game?
Well, yeah, that's what's so intriguing about a game like this. You're talking about a couple of teams that both play great defense, but the quarterbacks are so polar opposites. You know, you talk not just in age with one guy that's been there for 100 years and another guy that's just really starting to make a real good name for himself in Cam Newton. But Cam is so unique. They're both unique. But Cam is so unique in that we talk about this new generation of quarterbacks, the athlete, can run and all that, and that's fine. And of course he can do that, leading rusher of quarterbacks this year. But you have to be able to throw the ball if you're going to play quarterback in this league. He can throw the ball, and he throws it very well, and he's the best in the league against the Blitz, and so that's where he's really improved himself. We knew that he was a good runner, and we knew that he's a big guy, right? But he is throwing the ball so efficiently right now that he's a scary guy in the pocket. So, and then you got the other guy named Peyton who plays the game from the neck up, right? I mean, he's very cerebral in his approach, and he's able to be that guy that can throw, can run, control the clock because he's got such a great defense. That's why this game is really special. The two number one seeds, which we kind of expected could happen, and here we are. It's going to be a doozy.
Well, as you say, Cam Newton, big guy, his arm is an absolute cannon. He can complete passes. And when you talk about the new generation of quarterbacks, what sets Cam apart? Because when I look at it, sometimes he looks almost tight end-like when he's barreling through defenders.
Tight end-like. Tight.
Almost like
He's
a tight end quarterback
he looks like Gronk,
hybrid.
for crying out loud. And so, we talk a lot about this new generation of quarterbacks. And some people think, and I don't buy into this yet, that it's coming to the athletic quarterback will be the future of our league. I beg to differ because there aren't a lot of Cam Newtons running around,
right.
Okay? And when you look at this year's draft of quarterbacks coming up, there are not a lot of Russell Wilson and Cam Newton types. They're throwers in the first round of the draft that are pretty athletic, but they're not the zone read kind of guys, okay? So keep in mind that Cam Newton is special. He's rare. Same with Russell Wilson. RG3 was that athletic quarterback that didn't stay healthy, right? Kaepernick didn't stay healthy. So they've got to be big and strong and lucky not to get hurt, right?
Well, I was going to ask you about sustainability because last year, Ron Rivera, they tried to sort of keep Cam away from making those super physical plays. And Ron has said that once they cut Cam loose this season, that's when he really went off. They need to just let Cam play his game. But the way he's built, he can sort of sustain it, but it's not necessarily the safe route for quarterbacks to go. You don't want to see your franchise quarterback making plays like this necessarily.
I read, now you can't believe everything you read, but I read before this season that since Cam's been in the league, he's been hit like 235 more times than any other quarterback. That's because of the runs, the scrambles, and then sometimes a lot of hits. You can't bring him down, right? So you talk about sustainability. Well, he's bigger than most linebackers, right? So that doesn't mean he can't get hurt, but he's been lucky to stay healthy. I mean, he got in a car accident. That's when he got hurt, and
started that season with the broken rib from Jamie Collins.
Yeah, he's had some things, I guess, but
that he was able to keep going through
a tough
those
guy, and I just keep my fingers crossed that with all this running and diving into the Superman thing and in end zones, that he stays healthy because the league needs a guy like this entertaining us for a long time.
Well, on the other side of things, Peyton Manning, he has said that this might be his last rodeo. Do you think that he should retire? He did. We heard him say that to Bill Belichick. Yeah. Do you think that he should retire after the Super Bowl?
I don't think it's up to me. He may know in his mind, but you know what? Peyton Manning with 18 years. Come on, 18 years at anybody's job. That's a long time, right? And to do it so well for so long, I would hate to see him play with diminishing skills and maybe not have the success that he deserves. And so, there's a part of me that says, I hope he plays really well in this game. And he says, thank you, goodbye, it's been a great run. But he's such a competitor. And he loves to play the game. I was just with Brett Favre, and he played for 20 years, right? And Brett looks old. He's got the beard going on and everything else. But he just couldn't get away from the game because they love to play and they love to compete. And that's like Peyton. So he'll sit down after this thing and kind of look back, feel his body. Am I in one piece? How healthy am I? Should I do this again? And we'll see. He'll be successful, whatever he does.
Well, as quarterbacks start to age, we do a lot of times see that the decline, when it happens quickly. And Tom Brady's another guy who is getting up there. And I mean, it's been a hot topic this season.
You're not calling Tom old, are you?
I'm not. But how much longer do you think realistically he really does have left to play?
I remember when I was coaching Steve Young at the Niners, and Steve Young was 38 years old. And Steve Young was still over 100 passer rating, and he was still the most well-conditioned guy when we tested in training camp. I mean, he was, and in my mind, he had another 5 years to play. He was in his prime and physically healthy, and then what got him was a concussion, right, or two. So if Tom's healthy and he's still loving it, you know what? He could play into his 40s. I think that's his intention. I saw Favre do it. Warren Moon did it. Peyton's getting right there. It can happen, and he's been well protected over his years. Yeah, he's had a couple injuries, but Tom Brady's still at the top of his game right now. So he doesn't even want to hear this interview about talking about him being done. He's not going out with Peyton now. They're not a package deal. He's going to keep playing for a long time.
I know, he certainly doesn't want to hear it. And you mentioned Colin Kaepernick. I know the 49ers are a team you are familiar with. What's going on over there? What do they need to do to get back on track?
I talked to Chip a couple times, Chip Kelly, and I think he'll have an exciting offense. Now I'm hearing that Cap doesn't want to be there. I don't know what's going to happen there. But if they get rid of Cap, they're going to take a salary cap hit. His pun. and then you got Blaine Gabbert. But the 49ers lost 6 of their own first-round picks last year. Are you kidding me? How do you survive that? And so what happened. Now they got to rebuild it through the draft with Trent Baalke, and Chip has agreed with Trent, hey, you do the personnel, I'll coach this team. But they got to know that Chip's offense requires a certain kind of guy, not just that quarterback. So they got some decisions to make and get on the same page. But hey, they're in a competitive division too, so it'll be interesting over there.
Steve Mariucci, great insight, and you're going to be providing a lot of coverage this Super Bowl week. Where can we find your stuff?
Oh my God! So we have busy days today and tomorrow, and we have I have a players only thing over at Super Bowl City with Brett Favre and some things this afternoon. I want to say at 5 Eastern, but game day, they're waking us up. We travel from San Francisco here, 3:30 in the morning. We take a van down.
That's an early wake up.
We won't even be sleeping. I probably not. And then we drive down to Santa Clara, the stadium at Levi's. We're on the air at 6 o'clock. We have an 8.5-hour pregame show. 8.5. Yeah, I said that. 8.5-hour pregame show, and then we watch the game, and then we do the postgame show. So you know what? Just drink some coffee and get ready.
Yeah. Make sure you stock up on some Starbucks
okay.
before you head out there. Thank you so much for being with us today.
You bet.